Aisha from Singapore, she says, someone told her that reciting the Fatiha for the deceased, as practiced in so many Muslim countries, is not an innovation. So my question would be, okay, if it's not an innovation, is it a sunnah or not? And if it's a sunnah, can you present us with one single hadith in the entire huge collection of hadiths that state that this is part of the sunnah? The answer is no. Never ever the Prophet ﷺ recited the sunnah, the Fatiha for deceased. All the authentic hadiths, especially the one in the Sahih, when he buried one of his companions, and after the burial he said, استغفروا لأخيكم وسلوا الله له الثبات أو التثبيت فإنه الآن يسأل. Seek forgiveness for your brother and ask Allah to be steadfast because now he's being questioned. Never ever he told them, recite the Fatiha for him or do this or do that, which means that this is totally an innovation. None of the four caliphs did it. None of the companions did it. None of the tabi'een did it. So these people, Aisha, come to you and have the audacity to claim that it is not a bid'ah. What is it then? They said, oh, yeah, it's not sunnah. Okay, then what is it? It's something permissible. How could it be permissible if it is in the religion and when we're using Fatiha for it? Didn't the Prophet say, ﷺ, the hadith was narrated by Mother Aisha in Sahih Imam Muslim, whoever innovates in our affairs, in our religion, what is not part of it, it is rejected? Now, reciting Fatiha for the deceased, is it part of our affairs? Is it part of our religion, which Allah stated in chapter 5, Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 3, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. Today, I've completed your religion. Was it part of the religion that was completed at the time of the Prophet ﷺ or not? If you say, no, it wasn't, then it's a clear innovation. Simple as that. So what are we supposed to do for the deceased to help the deceased? One, a lot of dua. And you have, the sky is the limit. Seeking Allah's forgiveness, istighfar for the deceased. Paying charity. So feeding Muslims on his behalf. The poor, the needy, supporting Islamic channels, Islamic journals, Islamic da'wah centers. All of this is part of the continuous sadaqah jariyah, continuous charity on behalf of our deceased. And also Umrah and Hajj. Whether you do it yourself or you give money to people to do it on their behalf, this is all something that would benefit the deceased and it would reach him, inshaAllah.
Visiting the graveyard and reciting certain surah, particularly Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay. We need to understand that the Prophet ﷺ said in one hadith, I had prohibited you from visiting the graveyard in the past. And we all know the reason, because people used to commit a lot of shirk upon visiting the graveyard. After confirming the concept of Aqidah and people were fully aware of their belief, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam realized that there is no fear, no more from this shirk practice. Rather, visiting the graveyard for men on regular basis is actually recommended in order to remind us with death. So he said, ألا إني كنت قد نهيتكم عن زيارة القبور ألا فزوروها. And he mentioned the effective cause, which is فإنها تذكركم الموت. Because visiting the graveyard reminds you with death. So the main purpose of visiting the graveyard is in order to be reminded, receive the personal admonition. And we just buried some people, and when we return, when we pay a visit to the graveyard, I really get that feeling that just now we buried somebody, and maybe next. How soon? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. So it interrupts the person's hope to live forever and to commit the haram and not to worry about his obligations towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So visiting the graveyard is of a great importance, especially with this intention. He prescribed a dua or a supplication to be recited there, and that is the only thing that we know from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be said upon visiting the graveyard, which is Assalamu alaykum ahla al-diyari min al-mu'minina wal-muslimin wa inna insha'Allahu bikum lahiqun nas'alullaha lana wa lakum al-afiyah. Peace be with you, the dwellers of these homes, of the believers and the Muslims. Soon, God willing, we will join you. We will die and be buried too. We ask Allah the Almighty to pardon us and pardon you. نسأل الله لنا ولكم العافية. This is the only dua which is prescribed. What people do, recite certain ayat or certain verses or certain, all of that is not prescribed. As far as making dua, you can make dua definitely when you visit a particular person and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make his grave a garden, paradise, etc. Or even quote some Quranic verses which are presented as dua. There is no problem with that. Keeping in mind that if you make dua to that person when you are at home or in another country, it will benefit him. It will definitely benefit him. A dua for the deceased is one of the things which the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam confirmed. It will definitely benefit the dead person. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa'alam.